Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so once again, continuing on with the creation of the panels to go on our rice bag. Now, I finished off darning the edge of the, or whip stitch, overcast stitch of the piece. So this one is completely finished. And I also finished stitching this one. I did start mucking around with the chalk. You can actually still see a little bit of chalk in here. I need to get that off. When I laid the stencil down on the panel, I sort of started sketching. This didn't work, and as I mentioned in the last video, I needed a pen. So I went down to Spotlight and got myself a white washable fabric marker. So I now have a pen suitable for dark fabrics so that I can get my stencils on. So before we start doing that, I just wanted to go through these stencils, these Sashko stencils, sorry. Now, what I'm finding is these ones are common everywhere, and I saw them even down at Spotlight, this particular brand. I'm going to say they're just okay. This one here, which is part of that brand, the plastic's quite rough in there. So any fabric pen that you use, because they've laser cut this out with heat, it's going to perforate or sort of rough up the edge of the tip of things. Be all right if your tip is metal, will be fine. But I'm already noticing that I think this fibrous tip that the ink comes down is going to not last very long running through something like this, which is a bit of a shame. This one doesn't look as bad. This sort of feels like a plastic. This feels like a Perspex. So, I don't know, just be wary of the stencils. Have a good look at, see, that's definitely the same brand. Yeah, have a good look at the, I guess, the cut. So just keep that in mind. This little stencil that we used the other day, it's fantastic, really good. And you get 2 in the pack for about $14 Australian. So I went looking on Etsy and I found where I've got one of my stencils from. It's East meets West in New South Wales. So I was looking through the remaining stencils and there's 2 there that caught my eye, maybe 3 that I might end up purchasing. I'll see how we go. That one there caught my eye. That's a pretty classic design. So that'll be a definite. That one there is another definite. And the other one that I'm thinking about, and I probably don't really need it, is that one, and it's pretty popular too. So if you're in Australia, I'm pretty sure this lady actually ships overseas as well. If you type in Sashko embroidery stencil, you will find someone selling them, and these I bought at my local haberdashery stores. So it's obviously a brand out there that many can access. Highly recommend it. They're cut beautifully. I probably wouldn't buy another one of these unless it was a hard plastic. Like this one seems to be different. Let's have a little look. Nothing worse than ruining a pen. You see, this is a different plastic to this one. See how it's clear and that's see-through? Look for the clear ones. I don't know, maybe this is old stock and they used to sell them. I don't know what the story is, but we really want the clear plastic that's cut beautifully. This is, yeah, this is so-so. Anyway, just a bit of advice on the department of stencils. Now, what was I going to do? Oh, I know. I want to actually use that stencil. I was been looking for a stencil with a cherry blossom in it, and so far I haven't found it. but I found plenty of stencils that I think I can get what I need out of it for my particular project here. So I want to have a try. I cut a little piece off and it should be the right size. So I just want to, now I should really have a hard surface. I might just lift, got everything sitting on my stand here. I'm going to just lift everything off the table on my woolen mat so that I can have a hard surface. And we can trace out this stencil. They all have names, and I just can't remember the name of this one, so I do apologise, but you'll recognise the design. If you go looking for the stencils, I'm sure you'll come across the design. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way around. I'll just try and do circle by circle, otherwise I'm going to lift it up. If I start in the middle, that seems logical. So doing the second circle. Sorry for my bracelet clinking, guys. It won't take me long to do this. Okay, that's the 2 circles. Let's do the top circle. These are really fun to stitch. You certainly don't have to think. You do have to keep yourself neat and tidy. You can't, you know, too many longs and too many short stitches. You sort of want it to look uniformed. But you do get in a bit of a rhythm with it. Okay. So that's the circles. Now I might just start in the corners and do that cross half circle. Really pleased with the way the little panels are coming together. That panel for the bottom of the bag, just with the straight boro stitch, oh my goodness, were my fingers sore. I've been considering doing one of my denim jackets and doing some slow stitch on it in this styling, but after that was the end of that idea. It was really hard on my fingers and my joints because it's such a dense fabric, dragging that needle through. And you can use a really fine, sharp needle, but then it's digging into you as well. It's just one of those fabrics that's really hard to hand sew. Like when you use a sewing machine, you upgrade your needle to a denim needle. Like that's how rugged that fabric is. I hope I get it all. This is an unusual little pen too. You think you haven't done it, but as it dries, the white appears. Because I was sitting here going, well, where's the ink? Why is this not coming out? And then I walked away, come back, and there it all was. So don't panic if you can't see the ink. I don't have a brand for you, sorry. I took off the packaging and threw it in the bin. I didn't even think to keep it for you. But it was at Spotlight. I might be able to look it up actually. I did a a search on Spotlight's website before I hopped in the car. That's pretty good. I have a feeling that it's all there. Hello, Casper. All right, drum roll. Has that got it in the middle there? Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Okay, isn't that good? I'm pretty impressed with that, actually. Let me just hop on my phone and go to fabric pen. I better put white in the search so I can show you what to get if you don't have one and you want to have a play with it. That's it. Oh, okay, so it's Easy Sew. It's the same brand as those stencils that I was talking about a minute ago. So that's it there. Let's get a picture up. So, yeah, Easy Sew. So there you go. Okay, that's pretty good. Happy with that. Very happy with that. Let me get my big mat back. I feel more comfortable when I have my big woolen mat here. Okay, now, so I've got myself a new square ready to go and my piece. So how are we going to do this? I don't mind that. Do we do it off center? If we do it off center, we get more chance to do fabric. The other one was off center as well. So maybe we sort of follow our lead. And then if we want to do some patching around, like we did here, we've got, you know, a little bit more space to move. Okay, so let's have a look. Maybe this little piece of fabric can, oh gee, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? I think that's meant to be. Let's trim it up a little bit. That's the little one we used here, there, and there, those little morsels. So it probably wouldn't hurt to have a bigger piece in this design. I need to have a little play with the pen or two on the lining to make sure that my idea of tacking them to the outside of the bag will actually work. I think it will. I really don't want to lose any real estate to, you know, 1/2 inch seams. It'll just, yeah, I'm designing it to the full length. It has to work. If it doesn't work, I'll have to use them for something else, but I'm pretty sure it will. Pretty confident we can make it work. Now, what can we use next? Could probably put a morsel of hem in. I don't mind that. So I've just got my quilting cutting board to the side here, so you're a little bit out of shot, but I do apologise. But I want to try and keep the edges as straight as I can. Okay, let's get this little morsel in here. It's a little bit dark up there, but it is 2 different blues, so I don't mind it. We'll keep that little leftover. Where's that little bit? Yeah. I don't know, that might end up on there. I think we'll get to the little bits at the end like I did last time, just get the pieces down. Or maybe we can get a bit of this guy into position. And it had that made in Japan. I think that would be nice. Yeah, I'm going to try and get a piece of this in, I think, just to lighten it up a little bit. So we need a little marker so I know where to cut it. And there. So I'll just take it out of shot, sorry guys, just so I can give it a little. Just trying to line it up. I did, while I was standing in spotlight, I was looking at a small cutting board, like my big green mat, and it was about so wide and about so long, and I was so tempted to get it for such projects as this. I could just bring it into field of view for you guys and do a little slice. I was so tempted. I should have got it. I'm regretting it now. Next time I'm in spotlight, I might grab it, I think. I think it'll be handy. You know, when you pick something up, you turn it over a few times and you're like, oh, I don't need it. I've got plenty of cutting boards. But I think what caught my eye is that it was that long, thin rectangle. So therefore, it would sit well in our workspace here. So there's my next layout. So I'm happy with that. So let's get some pins into this. And then we will invisible stitch around. I bought myself a new cotton because this one is just about done. Got the pen, and then I also picked up this cotton as well. I just thought the colour, oh no I didn't, I'm telling you, rubbish. I did pick up a brown, but this is not the one. I just felt like it was very similar to this fabric. I don't know where I put that. It must be still in my bag. Okay, so that's all down. So let's get some invisible stitches into this. Actually, I've got my needle threaded, so I might do this pale section here first. So how are you all? What have you been doing with yourselves? Are you busy on a particular project? Or are you following along? Let me know. I'd love to know how many people are having a go at this particular project, having a play in the world of Japanese culture. It's really nice. I like the elegance of it. It's like it's a very clean designs, you know. Does that make sense? Why is that thread everywhere? Yeah, really, really happy with it. It is hard on the fingers. I can see why they wear all those leather protective. I should have mine on. I sort of get used to it once it's on, but I never seem to remember to put it on. So I do an hour or so of work and then realise that my fingers are starting to get sore. Okay, so that's that little guy secure. He is not going anywhere. if I can hide the stitch out in here as well. Oh, I do like that blue edge. Slow down, girl. Look at that. Look at that blue edge. I need that blue edge out there. Yep. Where the dye has sat. Run my stitch through here. I love the feel of fabric once you've done this, and everything's sort of meshing together really well. Really, really nice. And you can grip it without worrying about being bitten by a pin. Okay. I think I've noticed something with this type of work too is don't get too fussy with it. Sometimes the simple is better. You know, some of the pieces I look at and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many layers of fabrics and bits and pieces in that project that I just can't see anything. Where if you just sort of, I don't know, it's hard to describe. When you start looking on, what do you call it? Well, even Instagram, but more Pinterest at different examples of this style of work. It's, yeah, you can just see the ones that are, it's just full on and your eye loses the qualities of the fabric. And then others you're like, oh yeah, I can actually look at each piece here. It's not just a mishmash. It's just going to reach there. Just. It's all right. What we might do is make sure we have something go here just to reinforce it. It should be all right, but it's very, very close. Maybe I get a little snippet of something neutral, like one of those browns. Do we bring a bit of the cream up into it? Sort of want to stay away from the cream really because the inside of the bag is cream. So I think we can do better than that. Oh, there's that nice little frayed edge. Ooh, we like that, don't we? Yeah, I think we'll pop this little guy in there as just a little extra fabric to reinforce that. Yeah, that's better. I better put a pin in there. Let's just do a few little stitches around this edge. I probably should use a cream because I think this invisible stitch might even be noticeable. Yeah, I can see it. I'll save that little bit of cotton for over here. I'll just move my camera up a little bit. There we go, that's a bit better. Pull my work up. Okay. Let's come along this edge up here. That's better. Nice and secure. See, I could have moved that a little bit. Must have jiggled a bit. Doesn't matter. I like that there. I wanted to put a bit of the those tones in. I might lift it yet so that it comes down onto this design. I'm not convinced that it tucked in there looks right. So I'll wait till I get around there. Let's get this piece here down so it doesn't wriggle anymore. Okay. What's it look like? Like that. Yes, that's what we want. Just to break it up. I know it takes a little bit of time to stitch these, but it's sort of, I don't know, because it's a smaller piece, it doesn't feel so daunting. You take on some of these bigger projects and you just feel like you've been stitching for weeks. But this has been really nice. I'm sort of liking the idea of these bags that can be stiffened so that they actually become containers. I've got some embroidery panels that I've had for some time and I just like, well, what am I ever going to do with it? And now I'm thinking, well, I could make a bag that I can put something in on my desk as a stationary thing. And then if I do want to take it somewhere, I just string it together and away I go. I think that is really, really handy. Come on, don't you unthread. Of course it did. I need to finish this off. It's getting a little bit miserly. We can afford a little extra thread. Come on. Don't be like that. Flick. Gotcha. Okay, now I might do this blue next. Where's that piece that we cut off? Oh, it was funny. We're sitting in the car and I had everything in my hand and I gave my husband this as we left and said, hang on to that. That's the cotton I need to replace. And he popped it in his pocket. But while he was waiting for me to, where'd that piece of cotton get to that I cut? Oh, goodness me. When he was waiting for me to get into the car, the thread for this was just sort of dangling out. So he's looking at it and he's like, oh, this thread's annoying. So he spots this groove here and he's like, did you know that you can wind the end of your thread into that little groove and it is nice and neat and it's not flopping everywhere? And I said, oh, yeah, I did know that, you know, and I was giggling inside. And he said, yeah, he said, that's what it's designed for. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I did know that. Yeah, I did know that. So I'm getting out of the car to walk into Spotlight and I'm thinking, this is just hilarious. He's really thinking that he's figured something out, this little groove used to, you know. And I said, you know what else about this? You can actually remove these out and slide needles in there if you want. You can put a little stopper in the bottom of fabric and pop a needle in there. You should have seen his face. He was like thinking, and then he's like, okay, you do know what you're talking about. It was really funny, really, really funny. It was very sweet. He thought he was assisting with his piece of information for me. Yeah, it was funny. Did you know you could wind that cotton into the groove at the end of your reel? It's like, yeah, I did know. Right, but he knows that there's 99% of the time he can tell me something like that, a morsel of genius, and I'll go, oh, you're kidding, I never knew that. That happens a lot. So he probably had a very high chance that he was telling me something quite profound. But it was pretty sweet. Made me giggle all the way up the escalator to Spotlight. Okay. Let's get this invisible stitch done. Get this off my finger because it keeps gripping this fine, fine cotton and pulling it out of the needle. So what we might do next, the stitching of this design, that's going to be pretty straightforward. We'll do a little bit, but I won't waste your time with too much of it. I really just want to work out how all the other little pieces are going to go together. Then that'll give me something to go on with. And then I can come back with it 90% completed. And then all we're going to do is add some little decorative elements if we think we need them. So it's a little bit more of this blue, I think. I must have picked up the piece I had cut off and popped it in the bin. Oh, I tell you, Spotlight was busy yesterday. Gosh, there were people everywhere. I got served reasonably quickly, but it was just busy. I don't know what was going on. Everyone was inspired and they were out and about getting their supplies. What I might do too is draw in a border for this piece. Or will I? Yeah, I might. I might just sketch in the outer edge like I did with this panel. I did that little edge around it. I think I'll do that too. And I might just use the chalk because it'll be, oh, I know what I could use. The little ruler thing that I was showing you. Now that I've got a pen that gives me a really nice little line. Very impressed with it. It washes out with soap, but I used a baby wipe and it just dissolved it. So it's really good. Don't think it'll be too much trouble. Make sure I catch those little edges there. Come on, down you go. Why am I being so miserly with my cotton? Okay. So that piece is secure. I just trim that little edge up. I don't think that moved too much, that pale blue, to the point that I was a bit short here. I think it was probably close to start with. That's pretty good. Now, where's that ruler? This little ruler. Let's have a go at that. See how it's got the corners in it? And there, oh, look, 4 inch, 6 inch, 8 inch. Well, isn't that snazzy? Let's draw in using my fancy pen. Probably should have done this before I started, but anyway. I'm getting a bit precise, aren't I? Before I was happy just to roll the needle up and down through. Now I'm needing a stencil to do a basic line. So if I do that, you can line up the stencil. I'm going to have to extend a stitch there. That's a bit dodgy. This is where doing it freehand gives you that little bit of grace. I might be able to adjust my stitches enough there that you don't notice that I'm getting a bit out of alignment there on that. It'll be right. I can jiggle it. As long as I got a rough guide, I'll be happy. I probably could just done a chalk line. This is like major overkill. It's like I've got all these new toys. That's the problem. See how it goes on pale, and as it dries, you pick up the colour. Very cool. I'm just going to line it up with that side. Okay, there's our panel. Now, the fun bit. My whole thing is slipping around. You probably didn't see any of that because I was out of shot, but there you go. We're ready to go. Now, I think that has to be boro stitch. Just lines and lines of it. That is going to look really pretty, having heaps of stitches along there. And just because I'm getting a bit too precise, I might even draw in the lines. Why not? Let's put some little lines through there. You don't have to do this, but I'm enjoying it. So it's getting out of hand, these lines being drawn in. I should be just doing freestyle, shouldn't I? I am enjoying the preciseness of this particular work. That line's a bit too close. looks good. I wonder if we do a little patch of that. Oh, yeah. I think that's going to go there. Maybe that goes there. Maybe that goes under there. I sort of don't mind that. No. I just looked up at the camera. It's projecting to my TV and it just did not look right. Yeah, I like that. I shouldn't be doing these little patches yet, should we? Can't help myself. I sort of like all that. I think the next thing will be to get this stitching happening. I think this little guy, I might do the overcast stitch around the outer edge, like around that perimeter, like that there will be on that one. This one here, I'm tempted to do a similar stitch. This one here, I think I'm going to just outline it. I don't want to interfere with that stitch inside. Let's just cut us some thread. Here we go for time. Gosh, where's the time go? I feel like I've got nothing done. So let's do a running stitch through here. I think that will complement this piece of fabric. I was talking to a friend last night about the project, and she has come back to Queensland but did a bit of time in Melbourne, and she is very much Japanese educated, like she speaks the language. She's an Aussie girl. She's actually got a Greek background, but has from a very young age just loved everything Japanese. And she is an artist and does Japanese comics and has sold a few into Japan. So she's very much speaks the language, understands the culture and that. Not so much the textile world, more the graphic art world. So I was telling her that I was making this rice bag, and she was a little bit unsure what a rice bag was. So when I explained it, she's like, oh, okay, no problems. Well, she said that in Melbourne was a shop that had nothing but Japanese fabrics in it. And next door or just down the alleyway in this arcade was a place that sold all of the comic books and all of that type of stuff. So, and she'd never been into the fabric store, but she knew of the, the comic book one that she was frequently visiting. So, yeah, she's going to look out the name for me because I thought, oh, doesn't that sound interesting? So I'll be in Melbourne in June. So I might be able to swing by because, oh gosh, could you imagine a whole shop full of nothing but Japanese fabrics? So I thought that might be a bit of fun. So when she tells me the name, I'll let you know, because I'm thinking it could be somewhere I would like to go. Do I do a running stitch over this, or do I... Let's get rid of this little guy because I really need to do some of the stitching underneath first. Let's get that sorted. That looks like a denim, but it's not. It's a cotton, but it's a lightweight cotton. It just has been dyed to look like denim in those tones anyway. certainly not hard on my fingers. I'm already not following the lines. Might have to hit that with the iron, get rid of those lines and then start again. But this is not too bad. Mind you, I can go between them and it's still a guide. So yeah, if you know of the denim, the Japanese stores selling Japanese fabrics, write it in the comments so that anyone watching this from Melbourne, look down through the comments and you might just pick up the name of that business. I actually asked her if it was Bittern By The Bug where I ordered all these things from, but she didn't think so. I think my Bittern By The Bug is a Etsy store only. I don't think it's bricks and mortars, but I'm not sure. Must find that out. So I've got a little bit of cotton left, so I'm just going to finish it off. So we get the general picture of how that blue section will go. I've got a little bit there. No, let's just finish it, for goodness sakes. I don't know why I'm being so mean with my cotton today. Usually doesn't get to that point. I know, this little piece I might just invisible stitch on, you know, just so that I don't encroach on the design of those little flowers. So I think I'll just stitch it down with some blue thread. Now this little guy, what are we going to do with you? So I don't even mind that little morsel. Oh, it's so pretty. That'll be on the next panel. Talk about getting bang for your buck. There's the piece of blue cotton I couldn't find, for goodness sakes. What am I doing? It's the wrong cotton. Oh, I'm all over the place today. And I had a good night's sleep. That's my problem. I should not have good night's sleeps. I should be getting up at 3 in the morning and it's my best work. I don't even want that cotton. See what I mean? Concentrate, girl. It's this cotton we want. I did consider digging out a blue crochet cotton to do some stitching to, but I just didn't have the right blue. Just nothing that really looked perfect for the project. I might stitch across. And I thought, no, just don't start changing the recipe now, halfway through the project. Start bringing in some random things. I think I've got my colour palette sorted. But we'll see. You know how it is. You get hopping along and then you're like, oh. This is really nice to stitch because you can see some lines. So you can sort of just pick a point and away you go. It's actually really good. Okay, so we know what we're going to do with that. I'll just do one more row and then I'll leave that section. Now I will go around the entire edge of the piece and overcast or whip stitch at all, just to stop any fraying. I just don't want it to disintegrate completely, because some of these fabrics are very loose woven, so they're just going to unravel. Okay. All right, so let's just bring that needle up there and let that rest for a moment. And what we might do is we'll just do a bit of overcast stitch around that outer edge. It won't take long to secure. And because I want it to be a feature, I'm using the embroidery cotton. If you didn't want to see it, which will be the case around this edge, I'll just use that blue sewing machine cotton. But this I'm going to make it part of the design itself. So I'm just going to catch it. I'm not sure how much stitching I'll get done today. Got a few friends coming over and just, I don't know, I just got stuff I need to do. So I'm not sure if I'll even get a needle and thread picked up. I might end up in the next video for tomorrow and I've achieved nothing. I'll be reporting in with very little homework done. I'd say when I finally get a chance to sit down and do something, it'll be quite late. I have a feeling I'll just be like, nah, time to relax the mind and probably just doze off on the couch until I crawl into bed. So I'm not expecting, don't expect a lot of homework done for the next video is what I'm trying to subtly say. I'll see how I go. You never know, especially if your mates want to just sit around and chat. Well, then you can grab your work and just do a little bit. Now this will secure those edges. Now, I see you can't really see it too well because it's white on white, but I think it will be noticed. It's a little detail. Let's get our little silicone thimble on. If you're wondering where I got them, I believe they're on Amazon and you get like a pack of 5 or a pack of 10. I know they're in a little case and I just typed in silicone thimble. I've got those leather ones, but I'm just not getting on with them. I don't know. They feel so bulky. So I keep coming back to this guy. It's thin. It's reasonably priced. Okay. That is done. So that's secure. And how are we going for time? We've got 5 minutes. I might as well finish this thread off and get those few rows stitched in. And then I should be right to roll. maybe if I can get this done, this thread a little bit further along, I might be able to put that little floral piece in. And I sort of need this done first before I can patch in that little bit. Might put something down there too, in a beigey tone. I really like that design. This style of stitching might become quite addictive, I think. It's probably because I don't have to think too much. The design's there. That's a bit short, that. I'm going to go back out of there. Okay. Lots of bits everywhere. Can I get this little guy in, or do I need one more row? I need one more row. Let's just finish it. I've gone quiet, got nothing to say. And you're thinking to yourself, how is that possible? That girl, she just never, ever shuts up. That's looking good. I guess if there's any edges that you're a little bit concerned might fray, just do a little overcast stitch around in a matching cotton, and then you'll know that nothing's gonna come apart or disintegrate on you, I guess is the word. My line of stitching doesn't quite make that edge as good as I would like. And if I was to put a line in there, it probably would look a little odd. So I got a couple options. I could trim it back a little or do that stitch I was just talking about. That is so crooked. It started going wrong at that point there. It's because I'm rushing. Yep, that's better. I think that'll be fine. So if I was to put another stitch in through, it'd barely catch it. Now what I'm thinking with that little patch, that little cherry blossom patch, is I'll invisible stitch it down and it'll be like quilted there. Where's that blue? Let's do that. So I don't have a lot left to do on this panel really. Just whip a stitch around the outer edges of anything that's a bit soft, pretty much all of it. That's it, finished my main feature stitching. What else? That's it. That's panel number 3. How good is that? It's coming together. There we go. Just some little itty bitty stitches just to hold that piece there. It's like a little patch. I think I will whip stitch around it as well, just to, you know, keep it safe. I don't want it to fray. And I can use this thread to do that, where I just do a little overcast stitch there. And like, you could use it blanket stitch. Blanket stitch, you have to concentrate too much. Whip stitch is better. There we go. That's really going to melt it into the background, just that little overcast stitch. How are we going for time? Look at that, we're over, and I haven't finished. There's so much to do, and I'm going to have to go and probably not get any stitching done after this, but we'll see. We will see. I'll either report back tomorrow with all of it done, or I'll report back tomorrow with nothing done. Okay, I better stop. I better stop. I'll just go around this corner. All right. That's held. That is not going anywhere. Okay. I love it. I love how these little panels, like, we can, as we pop them onto the bag, we can change the view. They're great. Really, 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 really good. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you alone. I need to start my day and focus on other things instead of mucking around here with you guys. All right, gotta go. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.